Dr. Molly Scott worked as a professional singer prior to earning her doctorate in consulting psychology. For Scott, entrainment or sympathetic resonance is a powerful principle on many levels.
So something vibrates and another one picks up the frequency, and it happens biologically. It happens phenomenologically through all creative matter. It's how things work, really.
Scott explains what happens when a tuning fork comes into proximity with another tuning fork.
This one picks up the frequency and sings. So this one's damped, like the little bowl. This one sings. Something happens that doesn't rely upon touch. Some phenomenon happens here.
For Scott, the phenomenon of sympathetic resonance has far-reaching implications.
So here we have 883. This is 880. This is 883. Let's see what happens. So there's a window here. We don't have to be spot on. We don't have to understand everything. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to come into the field of somebody else's experience in order for us to open up.
Okay, thanks, Nancy.
Dorinne Davis is the founder of the Davis Center in Mount Arlington, New Jersey. The center offers a variety of sound-based therapies that enhance hearing, speech, learning, and wellness. These therapies are based on how the body perceives sound and how the body's systems utilize frequency.
All of us are a bundle of emitting and receiving frequencies. Some of us emit more of one sound than another sound. We look for balance to feel whole from the sounds that are around us. You're going to be hearing some different bursts of sound after a while, because we're going to try to delay some of the sound coming in and enhance it in other areas. At the same time, in this ear in particular, we are emphasizing bone conduction.
Davis has been trained in over 20 sound-based therapies, including the Tomatis method. Dr. Alfred A. Tomatis, who developed alternative theories about hearing known as the Tomatis method, or APP. He is best known for his theory known as the Tomatis effect, which proposes that the voice does not produce what the ear does not hear. Davis has developed her own integrated approach and uses the symbol of a tree to describe it.
I found that I was looking at not auditory processing so much anymore as sound vibrational processing. And we take 24 numbers and we put it into a computer-based program, and that computer-based program then will allow us to figure out how the numbers of the bodies work together, the numbers of those frequencies.
Davis explained that the trunk of the tree represents vibrational processing. The lower leaves and branches of the tree become what audiologists typically call auditory processing skills, such as memory discrimination and sequencing. The upper leaves and branches of the tree represent the skills of reading, handwriting, and spelling.
My concept was about the total person's response to sound and vibration. We process sound not only through your ear, you process sound through your skin, your cell network, your bone structure, and your auditory piece of our body. So that we are picking up vibration that is being triggered to our entire body with all these extra energy sources that are around us. And sometimes we are going to be positively impacted and others were negatively impacted. That's you.
Wow.
So now I will print that out.
Davis explains why she thinks we're attracted to certain sounds and music and repelled by others.
If you hear a selection of music that you really like and you want to play it over and over and over again, if you were to take basically the generic note throughout it probably is a frequency that your body is craving, and you would do better supporting yourself with that versus a frequency that your body didn't need. You may not want to hear that sound, or you were rejecting that frequency.
In addition to alleviating stress and physical illness, can sound and music help us overcome traumas in our lives? As a therapist and educator, Dr. Scott has focused her clinical work and research on the role that vocal resonance plays in the healing process, particularly in the treatment of trauma.
One of the most useful things that I do in my work is to go outside of ordinary speech.
Scott draws insight from the triune brain theory. Neurologist Paul MacLean proposed that human beings actually have 3 brains. They're referred to as the neocortex, the limbic system, and the R complex, also known as the reptilian brain.
We have an experience. It comes into us encoded in frequencies that are chemicalized. Brain creates chemicals, and then these chemicals need to move through various parts of the brain and into the language to come into our experience, and we can talk about it.
According to Scott, car crash victims and war veterans often experience post-traumatic stress disorder because the traumatic experience gets encoded in the midbrain. The memory of the trauma can be stirred by a sense memory.
It can be triggered by a smell or a sound or somebody's red shirt, or a car backfiring down the street, and suddenly you're in the jungle, or you're back where the car crashed, or whatever the trauma was. And there are no words there because the experience doesn't have a story to hold.
Expression through sound has the potential to unleash emotions when words prove to be too limiting.
What if we use our voice to re-experience what it smelled like, what it tasted like, what the colors were, what the feelings were, what the texture, to stimulate the sensory story in the midbrain through the office of the voice. And that's where the non-cognitive sounding comes in.
For as far back as we can peer, human beings in every culture utilized sound and music to celebrate and to mourn, and to express every emotion in between. Not only does music have the power to impact the emotions of an individual, but it can also draw together groups of people and contribute to a transformative communal experience. Composer Paul Hindemith said, "People who make music together cannot be enemies, at least while the music lasts." Roya Barami is a performing artist who worked as a telecommunications engineer for 20 years before pursuing her love of music full-time. She plays the Persian santur. Barami can sense the energy in a room full of people, an ability that she attributes to her musical sensibility. She believes that music has the potential to heal a community.
As a musician, of course, I'm very sensitive to energy. And when I walk into a hall, if people are not really connected with each other, I can sense that coldness, that sense of, okay, there's work here to be done, right?
Barami is able to transform her audience through her performance. She described this change in spirit as an amazing sense of fire that moves through the crowd, that helps them access their emotions.
There is this incredible power that a musician has that can really help the world, to heal the world, to bring the people that feel distant, that feel far, strangers to each other, bring them together.
Working on a very subtle level, music can bind people together in the moment.
Without people really noticing, all of a sudden, a feeling of disconnectedness, a feeling of alienation, all of a sudden transforms to love and compassion and connectedness.
Now more than ever, it seems that we must consciously and deliberately build into our lives and our environments opportunities for rest, contemplation, and physical, intellectual, and spiritual rejuvenation. From what we've learned so far, sound and music have a powerful impact on our bodies and our minds. But perhaps we need to think about the nutritional value, if you will, of the sounds and music that we expose ourselves to. We hope that we've helped to inspire you to think about how you can reinvent your environment to include sounds and music that could energize your body and calm and soothe your mind and your spirit. Thanks for watching Matter and Beyond. Please join us next time.